Hello, I've just done a 100-kilometer bike ride from Montreal to Rouses Point, New York, where I saw Fort Montgomery, an old abandoned fortification from the 1870s, which has a really interesting history. Along the way, I also happened to stumble upon an abandoned factory, and I passed through many quaint towns and bike paths throughout Quebec. Come along with me for the adventure.
Here's the map. I made my way through Chambly and Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu before staying in Rouses Point for the evening. Then I took a slightly different route back the next day through Saint-Rémy. Altogether, it was about a 200-kilometer round trip.
It's about 6:30 in the morning. I'm riding my bike through some beautiful Montreal construction, but I'm on my way down to Rouses Point in upstate New York. It's going to take about 6 hours to get there. Let's get this show on the road. I'm loving these quiet Montreal pedestrian streets. It's quite eerie at this time of the morning with nobody around. Coming across the Quartier Bridge now, which is one of the main thoroughfares to get from Montreal to the South Shore. And I'm going to stop just here and give you guys a look at the scenery below.
I made it into Longueuil and continued another 23 kilometers towards Chambly, where the plan was to grab a coffee. There's quite a nice dedicated bike path out here.
And of course it's not open yet, another half an hour to go. I got to Chambly a little too early for the cafes, so I'm going to continue on down to the next town, which is called Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. But along the way, the nice thing is I'll be cycling alongside the Chambly Canal, so I promise this to be very scenic.
Built in 1843, it was constructed to transport goods from the St. Lawrence to the Hudson River. It's still in use these days, but only for recreation. At some point along the canal, something quite interesting caught my eye.
I passed what appears to be an extremely abandoned and derelict site, so I'm going to come in for an investigation. What in the hell is this place? This is insane. My God, there's a boat. There's a boat in the middle of this building. What the hell? I'm just looking it up in the map and I can see it used to be a factory. The building was constructed in 1918 and in 2021 it was approved for demolition. This is just insane. My God. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably highly dangerous for me to do this, but the stairs here look very inviting. Don't try this at home, kids. Let's go up. Jesus Christ. Okay, it's getting a little bit too wet and soggy in the ground here, so I'm gonna come back. Oh, it's completely pitch black in this room. Seriously, it feels like I'm in some kind of Mr. Beast challenge. Let's get out of here, back down the stairs. Who am I kidding? I'm not finished yet. I want to see the rest of this damn floor. Oh wow. And I seem to have found the electrics room. The crazy thing is there's even a third floor up there that I could have explored, but I think my time here is done. Let's get out of here. I can honestly say that if I don't make it to Rouses Point today, my thirst for adventure has been completely satiated by stumbling upon this completely random abandoned building. That was incredible. This is how I left my bike while I was exploring that factory, locked up against a tree. So we continue on towards Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu. I'm really craving a coffee now after exploring that abandoned factory. Is there anything more beautiful you can think of to do on a Saturday morning than come here and ride your bike along the Chambly Canal? Seriously, if you're in Quebec and you've never been to this region before, come here, spend some time here. It's truly majestic. I very specifically chose this route to get to Rouses Point because I'd come down here a couple of years ago with my friend James. We did a very similar bike ride and it was so beautiful I wanted to see it again. It's about an hour out of my way, so I could have taken a more direct route to get to Rouses Point, but I can tell you it's so worth taking the extra time to come down here. All right, let's see what we've got here. New York, 587 kilometers. Mexico, 4,180 kilometers. Toronto, 579 kilometers. Breckeyville, 253 kilometers. Breckeyville, that's where I need to go right now because I'm starving for my breakfast.
I pulled into Saint-Jean and I ended up at this random cafe called Bean et Bonheur, where I had the best coffee I've had in all of Canada. And I'm very serious about that. It was really good. Straight after that, I went for a wander through the public markets.
What a cute little town this is. I've only been here once before with James, but we just rode through. We didn't actually stop here. So this is my first time stopping in Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu, and I would definitely come back. It's been a very pleasantly adventurous trip so far, and there's just over 2 hours to go now until I reach Rouses Point. I'm on the proper regional Quebec farmyard roads now. It's going to be a bit of a slog for the next couple of hours, but at least it's a very beautiful day. I just wanted to stop and quickly point this out. I'm here in the middle of nowhere in countryside Quebec, and somebody has actually been bothered to construct a rest area specifically for bicycles. Whosever idea this was, it's wonderful. Thank you very much for that, and there should be more of this across Canada. Certainly an unexpected sculpture to stumble upon out here. Saint-Valentin, capitale de l'amour. Wow, what a town. There's a lot of amour in Saint-Valentin, apparently. A quick stop here at Notre-Dame-du-Mont-Carmel for a sip and a toilet break, although to be fair, the toilets are locked. Then I'll continue on 10 kilometers south till I get to Rouses Point. I'll check into the motel, take a shower, and go and explore some of the points. There we go, the first sign I've seen towards Rouses Point. Back onto a gravel road. This is what my bike was built for. Fucking hell! What a fucking awful road. Ooh. Oh, that was a fucking awful gravel road. Nearly came off a couple of times. The gravel was so damn loose. Some dark and ominous clouds there in the distance. There's potential for some rain, but I should reach my destination before they pass over. Oh, well, that's it. Apparently I've just crossed into the US. That was the border back there. Haven't gone through passport control yet, but that's coming up soon. I'm at border control now at the US, so I'll put away my camera and get through this and talk to you soon. That was very quick and easy. Certainly helps to have a Canadian passport. Now to find this motel in town called the Anchorage. I have made it to the Anchorage Motel in Rouses Point. Before I check in, I'm just resting my legs for a little bit here. I'm going to check my stats on Strava and see how far I rode today. 99.83. Are you kidding me? 99.83. I can't even crack the 100. That's ridiculous. 99.83. Get out of here.
It smelt like cigarettes, there were cigarette burns on the blanket, the bathroom was dingy and the air conditioner didn't work, but it was literally the only accommodation in town.
Alright, let's be real. The Anchorage Motel is not the coziest motel in the world. As a matter of fact, I'd go as far as to say it's sketchy as fuck. But the one saving grace it does have is this spectacular view of Lake Champlain. Time to explore Rouses Point and see what this village has to offer. I'm gonna go get some lunch somewhere, I'll walk around downtown for a bit, and then I'll go and find Fort Montgomery.
I really enjoyed checking out Rouses Point. It's a quaint little town, very easily walkable. I had lunch at a diner called Frenchie's. I went to the local cemetery.
I always like to see how cemeteries are kept in towns like these, and I must admit it's a very clean and tidy and well-kept cemetery.
Dropped by the pier and the Veterans Park, and eventually it was time to find what I came here for.
I'm getting closer to Fort Montgomery. It's just at the end of this street, and then I have to turn left, and I believe probably walk through the bush for a couple of 100 meters. I am aware that it is on private property, so I don't know my chances of actually getting in to see it. Who knows, maybe I'm going to end up getting shot. If I do, then it's been nice knowing you, but I'm going to try my best either way. Well, there it is behind me. It doesn't look so far away, but I just have to figure out how to get there. And it doesn't look so easy, to be honest. My first thought was to come down and see if there's a track somewhere by the shore. Doesn't look like it, so I'll have to keep trying. In through here, it's all marshland, so I'm gonna get super wet. What I think I'm gonna do is go back to the intersection of this road. There was a gate. I'm gonna jump the gate and see where that takes me. Well, this is the gate I was talking about. It doesn't seem so easy to get to where I want to go, but I think it's my only option. Wish me luck, ladies and gentlemen. Wish me luck. Well, I can't see a sign of any other people or vehicles coming down here for a very long time, so I think my likelihood of being shot today has decreased quite substantially. Well, this is quite the adventure, isn't it? Walking through meter-long grass on private property in the US, only a couple of 100 meters away from the Canadian-US border. What could possibly go wrong? It has to be around here somewhere that I turned right. I was a little scared that maybe I would accidentally walk onto Canadian soil without going through passport control, but that's not looking like a possibility because there's going to be a river in the way and I would need to cross the river to get to Canada. It's got to be in here somewhere. It has to be. But nothing is showing up as a visible path. I kind of don't like my chances now of getting to the fort. I'll go maybe 100 meters more and then I'll make a decision about what to do next. Potentially through here. Ah, the path veers off to the right. That's a good sign. Let's keep following. Thank God for that. Yes. I can see it clearing up ahead, which is a good sign. You know, if I want to go see this fort, which I really do because I'm so close, I think I only have one choice, which is to take my shoes and socks off and get in this water. I really did not factor in for this today. Well, God damn it, I made it to Fort Montgomery. I feel like Indiana Jones.
I spent an hour exploring the deep, dark corridors of the fort. This place was just incredible.
Wow. I am genuinely flabbergasted by this place. I don't know if you can tell, but the amount of flabbergastation that's on this face at the moment is beyond words. I did not know what to expect here at Fort Montgomery, but it's exceeded all expectations. This place is incredible. Here we are at the top of Fort Montgomery. This is just unbelievable, completely unbelievable. My God. So, let me tell you the reason why I decided to come here to Fort Montgomery to begin with. I've known about this place for quite some time, and I know that this fort was constructed between 1840 and 1870 as a way of keeping British Canada out of America. However, prior to that, in 1816, there was another fort that was built not so far from here, actually about 1.2 kilometers north. It was quite an important construction for the time, so important actually that President Monroe even visited the incomplete construction. The thing is, at some point, there was some surveying work that was done around the site, and somebody realized that accidentally this original fort was built north of the 45th parallel, which means it was actually built by mistake on Canadian ground. Those silly Americans. That original site today is known as Fort Blunder, and it's not so far from here. It's literally 1.2 kilometers that way. Apparently there's nothing left there at the original site. Everything was pillaged around the time that it was abandoned. So yes, after Fort Blunder, all the effort went into this site here at Fort Montgomery, which I'm sure you can see it's a huge site. I'm really genuinely surprised at how big this was. I was not expecting this. It remained in action as a fort from the 1870s when it was completed up until about 1909 when it was eventually decommissioned. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why I wanted to come to Fort Montgomery today, to tell you that story and to show you this incredible piece of American history. And the walk back to the motel begins. Seriously, what a day. I can't believe that in the space of a day, I was able to find this modern abandonment in the terms of that factory that I saw in Chambly, followed by this historic abandonment that we just saw in Fort Montgomery. It's just incredible. Adventures like this give me so much energy. This has been such a good day. You have no idea. Back at the spot where the shoes need to come off. I just want to point out one more time that Fort Montgomery is on private property, so if you do want to come here to see it for yourself, you just have to obviously be aware of the risks in doing so. But I can tell you that it was very well worth cycling my bike 99.83 kilometers from Montreal to Rouses Point to do this today. And there we go, safe back on public land, celebrating the fact that I didn't get shot.
I walked back to the motel, then took dinner down the road at Casa Capitano. I loved their homemade spaghetti, by the way, before getting back for a good night's sleep.
It's the next day. I'm feeling surprisingly good after the night's rest. I can hear the church bells in the distance. Time to get some breakfast and head on back to Montreal.
I checked out of that sketchy motel and grabbed breakfast at the Lakeside Cafe.
Quite an average coffee there at the Lakeside Coffee Roasters. Leaving Rouses Point now, we'll be in Canada in a matter of minutes, and then I'll continue on towards Montreal.
It took ages for someone to see me at passport control. They don't make it easy for cyclists, but I got through eventually.
Back to the land of metric units. I love it. I think that was a little coyote. Don't think I've ever seen one of them in the wild before. Wow. So Google Maps is telling me I need to come down here, but I have a famous Routes Barrées sign, so I don't know what I should do. I think I'm just gonna go down.
It was a bit bumpy, but I made it and was rewarded with a field of cows.
Just out of nowhere, I've turned onto an actual dedicated bike path. So I'm off the roads now. I'm looking forward to this.
I discovered this was part of a 27-kilometre trail from Monteé-Dupuis to Rennes Saint-Michel, of which I saw about 17 k's. It was my favourite part of the day's ride. Eventually, I joined the regional road again.
Pretty much the past hour has been along these farmyard country roads. Hasn't been anything too interesting, but I'm coming up to a town now called Saint-Rémy, and I'll see if I can grab some lunch from there. Well, this is it. This is Saint-Rémy.
I found the local gourmet restaurant, had some lunch, and got the hell out of there. By the way, if you're from Saint-Rémy, I'm sure it's a beautiful town. I just didn't see that part of it. So feel free to let me know in the comments where that is, and maybe I'll return one day. By this stage, I was getting pretty close to home.
Finally, I've entered familiar territory again. I've definitely been to this Bonsoir d'Epineux in the past on a previous trip, so now I can almost get away with turning off my Google Maps and make it back home to Montreal by myself. And now I find myself on quite an interesting bike path that I've been on many times before. It's basically this thin stretch of reclaimed land that runs, I believe, for 11 kilometers from Ile Notre Dame to the Recreation Park. Actually, it's deserving of a video entirely for itself, but it's a fantastic way to get from Montreal to the South Shore, and I'm happy to be taking it back to Montreal today. Just discovered this path that's going to take me down to the shore of the river. I kind of feel like a swim. I feel quite safe actually, so I came to bring you along as well. It's really worthwhile coming in here to wash away the sweat of the last couple of hours. All right, time to go back. That was a very worthwhile interlude, and now I'm ready for home.
From here, it was under the Champlain, along the Grand Prix circuit, past the Biosphere, back over the Cartier, and I was on the island again.
I'm on the final stretch now before home, so just wanted to say thanks for sticking around. I really hope you enjoyed watching this adventure as much as I had doing it. Please, if you could, I'd really appreciate if you could like, subscribe, comment and share. It really does help. And do keep your eye out because I have more adventures like this planned as we go throughout the year. Thanks so much.
So that was my weekend bike ride to Rouses Point to see Fort Montgomery. There was only one thing left to do, check my Strava to see if I made the 100 Ks today.
96.65. Still not quite 100, but it's a pretty good day. Apparently it's $3 million if you want it for yourself.